93-year-old woman fighting for her home, her property. Put it up full mass. This is a damn shame. Ms. Josephine Wright has to go through this. 93 years of age from Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, told the news, the local news, that Bailey Point Investment Group, let me say that again, Bailey Point Investment Group, these are developers, have been harassing her to get her to sell the land that her home sits on. The Jonesville Road property has been in her family since just after the Civil War. Acquired after her husband's relatives, who were Geechee, escaped bondage and were freed by the Union. Despite the home's rich history, the developers want to tear it down for construction. Bailey Point is developing the land behind her house, according to a 29-acre comprehensive 147-unit plan. Wright's home reportedly sits in the way of their progress. First, Bailey Point offered to buy Wright's land from her and began harassing her when she refused. Wright accused the developers of slashing her tires, throwing trash in her yard, and even hanging a snake in her window. She said, and I quote, "It puzzled me at first, but then it got me angry," she said. "I guess they figured I would become so unnerved with the harassment that I would say, take it, but they don't know me. I am here to fight for what I have. I want to just keep my property and them leave me alone." Bailey Point filed a lawsuit against the 93-year-old woman property owner soon after, claiming that portions of her home were on its property. A porch, shed, and satellite dish. Wright told WSAV she'd already paid $1,900 to move her shed and remove her satellite dish. However, she admitted contention with their claim about her porch. She said, "You can see I'm at least 12 feet away from the borderline, which is right there." Now, let me say this before I move any further. There's a dynamic called qualitative easing. I'm gonna get into that when I do the follow-up of this story. But I believe that there's a dynamic that has not been explored by Ms. Wright. Let's put up the picture full mass. For now, she's requesting help. Wright has hired an attorney. Her family has started a GoFundMe, asking for funds to assist her with her growing legal expenses. A very decent person decided to make a huge contribution. Based on the GoFundMe donations, it appears that NBA star Kyrie Irving donated $40,000. Big ups. It's a good deed. Now, you all have not had the benefit of hearing the 93-year-old great grandmother have a conversation or talk to the news. I have. When I tell you this woman is sharp, she is sharp. I mean, very sharp. She's also fearless, has no fear in her body at all. I wish we had more leaders like that today. I don't think she's going anywhere anytime soon. We stand with you. For those who are watching, I encourage you to support the effort by contributing to the GoFundMe. Cases like this can become very complex, especially when you're dealing with large developers. You know why? Because those developers, well, they have lobbying groups, and those lobbying groups, they have advocated their position with lawmakers. And those lawmakers have created laws that are so damn complex that the everyday citizen has a hard time navigating. So it requires a specialist, like an attorney. And attorneys cost money. All right, Doc, what are your thoughts here?
How many stories like this don't we hear? Because it happens all the time, right? And so basically, these large developers have endless funds, and the minute they get you in court, they can drain you dry on legal fees. And so people are forced to sell their property for far less than it's worth. I wish we lived in a country where there was more consumer protection. I think that's a very important goal. I think hopefully we can use cases like this to advocate for that. But it ties back to your last story. I mean, the Trump Corporation are developers. They do the, I mean, we reward people who do this kind of thing all the time. And so amazing story of this woman, total support for her. And I hope it turns out. And I also just think it's a bigger issue, which is the rights of individuals when you're kind of in the crosshairs of very well-funded developers who want your land or your property.
Yep, and your local government has basically already signed off on it.